Hi Flosstube! Welcome to this video. My name is Anna and I'm here to talk about cross stitch. Today is Sunday, August 1st, and we're having kind of an overcast day here. It was supposed to be rainier than it is, but it's definitely cloudy out. So I've put a desk lamp like here, and hopefully that gives us enough light for you to see my progress. My last video I used this overhead light here, and it's got like warm light bulbs in it, and it made my hair like crazy orange, like definitely like really red in the video, and my hair has some red in it, but it's mostly brown. And so when I was looking back at that last video, I was like, wow, that light really had an impact on my hair color. So thank you guys for noticing that I got a haircut, but I did not get a hair color. It's still just brown, and hopefully this light gives us enough with the overcast day that you can see my stitching progress. So August 1st, I cannot believe that it's already August. July went by so quickly. It's full of gardening and hiking and my job. July is definitely the busiest part for my work, so last week was sort of the end of that session, and so this coming week I'll be just wrapping up that task. So it should be, less stressful than the last couple weeks have been, but it's still just wrapping all of that up. So I'm glad that I'm taking some time today to do this video, and hopefully I'll be back in another month to show you guys some more progress. So I'll go ahead and show you what I got done, and then I'll do the giveaway winner. Thank you guys for participating in that. And then I'll talk a little bit more about plans, although I don't have that many firm plans. So I guess I'll just jump right in and get started. So I'll start with my full coverage project. I've been working on Mini Birdsong, artwork by Tatiana Fedorova, and is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And as it says in the title, it's the mini version, so it's not as detailed, and it's also not as big as the normal version. So hopefully I'll show you where I was before. And then I finally finished the diagonal on this one that I've been working on for ages. So here it is. Got some spare strings here. So yeah, this one took forever, partially because these diagonals are just getting longer and longer as I go across, but also because this last diagonal I did a 15 squares wide instead of the normal 10. Just to get it back centered where it was supposed to be across these squares. There's a partial page or a partial row here that had my count off. Well, not my count off, but anyway, the point is, from now on, when I go back up to the top, I can start at the corner of this square. Whereas before I made this change, I was starting in the middle of the square because of this partial column over here. So next time I work on this, which I'm going to put this away for a bit, but next time I work on it, I'll start back up here and I'll just do a normal 10 wide diagonal. And most of this first part is going to be sky, so it should go pretty quickly. And then you can see through here towards the bottom of this one, starting to get into more berries down here. So when I pick this up again, hopefully I'll get some more berries. I think that I might just barely start the edge of a bird that's sitting here-ish. It might be 2 columns away, but I might be able to start on the bird next. So this is how far I've gotten. I'm really enjoying this. I mentioned a long time ago that in future I'll probably just have one full coverage project going at a time so that I can see more progress. For now though, I have my other full coverage project, which is Fright Night from Artisy. I'm going to pull that out and work on that as my full coverage project. So hopefully that'll get progress next month. I don't think I'll get a full diagonal done in a month because that project also has the diagonals growing every time I put in a new one. But it's definitely getting there. And this one I'm still enjoying. It's on 18 count white Aida that I gridded myself. I think next time I do a full coverage project, I might go with a smaller count, like a 25, and also with a pre-gridded fabric, since it just seems to save so much time. But for now, I've got plenty of this to work on, so I should not even be thinking about another full coverage project in the future. So here it is again. It's really pretty. This background is so the light is washing it out a little bit. It's a little richer, a little brighter, but this is sort of a dull, almost background area. So the rest of the project will be, I think, much brighter. So anyway, here's my progress on that one. So this month I did stitch more than the month before in June, but still not a ton of like hour-long chunks where I could sit down and just work on a project. So the progress is kind of mixed. I would work on one and then switch to another and then switch to another one. So next I'll show you Millennium, which is Teresa Winsler. It's my first and only Teresa Winsler that I've been working on. Let me get the cover photo out. So this is what it, this is the preview, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is in celebration of the year 2000. So I don't think I'm going to put the year 2000 there. For a while I thought about putting the year 2020 as a sort of commemorative piece for this year that we've had, but it's looking like it's not over yet. So I'm just gonna leave that date there, and maybe when I finish this in 10 years I can put 2030 on there. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I didn't do a ton of progress on here. I've stitched, let's see, I'm stitching on this side, so I've stitched this little planet and this little planet, and I'm stitching along the edge of the earth, and then I think that's probably the moon, and I'm also stitching along the side of this angel's wing here. So just through here is the only progress I've been making on this one. But I did get a few lengths in, so I'll show you. It's still in the Q-snap, which this one I'm not using like a scroll rod the way I was using this one. It's attached on these two, and then I twist it to roll it up or down, kind of like a scroll rod. And then these are actually just the corner pieces for these Q-snaps, and then this is just a little extender, like an itty bitty connecting thing. So that's how that works. But I also have a Q-snap that I use like a normal Q-snap. So that's what I've used for this one. So not a ton of progress. I did fill in some sky down here. Down here at the bottom, this is where it starts to get, the sky lightens up, and then there's a mountain range down here. So we're just starting to get into that part where it's sort of feathered in there. And then, as I said, I did some blends through here, and you can see that little itty bitty planet. So the planets are all 1/1, whereas the rest of the sky is the normal 2/2 that you would typically see. And there are blends in the sky colors, so you probably couldn't, so you wouldn't want to do this 1/1 for the whole project. Also because these ones would also need to be really, really tiny if you did that. Anyway, point is, lots of blends in this one. Almost all of the threads are actually blends, from what I remember in the sky at least. Yeah. So then I also worked up here, and as I said, this is the edge of this angel's wing. So if I keep this out, I think I'll probably keep working around this outline so I get a better idea of where that falls. And then I thought I miscounted in here because it was turning out kind of square, but there are just a few stitches I marked as complete in here that I haven't actually done. So this will be rounded like it's supposed to be. So, yeah. I don't know if my camera will catch how little the 1/1 stitches are. So that's my progress so far. You can see a little bit better the outline of this, the angel here This is the shoulder, and this is the wing. And I do have my notebook here. It's where I write down just the projects I started, the date I started, let's see, I put the pattern, the designer, when and where I purchased it, when I started it. There's a blank spot for when I finish it. Then I also write down my fabric and the threads and any other notes when I started it. And I try to go back and update it if something develops and I make a change, but I'm not really diligent about it. So anyway, this one I started January 1st in 2020, and it's stitched on 28 count Jobelin in Stormy Gray. And I believe it called for a 28 count, and there are beads in this. So I didn't want to change that recommendation. But I really like the Stormy Gray choice. I think it suits this project. So, and these are just metal buttons that I picked up years ago, and I turned them into needle minders by gluing magnets to them. So anyway, that's my progress on Millennium. Something else about this project, when I started it, it's been sort of like a meditation piece, I guess, or a project where when I work on this, I try to think about the earth and our impact on it. And I'm sticking with that. I only did a few threads in this, but it just gave me time to reflect on where we're at and what I can do in my own life and in my own little bubble, my own little world here to sort of contribute. And it makes me really happy when I go out to my garden in the morning and I see bumblebees sleeping inside my squash flowers, or I have some sunflowers that came up voluntarily under the bird feeder, and it just makes me feel warm and fuzzy when I go out there in the mornings and I can see bees. I think they're sleeping in there, just waiting to wake up for the day and visit my vegetable garden and then move on. So I guess my contribution lately has just been providing a habitat for the bees, and I'm going to try to find joy and comfort in that despite what's happening around the world right now. So anyway, this is a good reminder of the need to think about that kind of thing, at least every now and then. So that's my progress on Millennium. Okay, I also worked on, let's see, a little bit of my Prairie year ones, and I actually need to change out. I'm gonna grab it off my shelf. I have this one out for July, and because it's August, I'm gonna switch it out for the watermelon. I think is the one that I have done for August. Should I just pull that out now and see? So this one, all of these little ones I started for Mania 2020. So it's been a little over a year that I've been working on these. And they're good for travel because they're too small for me to have a hoop, for me to use a hoop, so I just stitch in hand. I do get it, my hand does cramp up after a while. I kind of need something thicker and heavier to hold on to, because holding tightly to something this small kind of hurts my hand after a while. But these are good to take camping, which we had an overnight. It's been, I guess it was just last weekend. I don't know where the time has flown, but last weekend we went camping and stayed out overnight, and we got caught in a thunderstorm. We were totally safe. We were in a safe spot, but we were stuck in the tent for a while, and so I got a chance to stitch on these. They're on 14 count Aida in different colors. Let's see if I can find. Okay, so instead of this July one, I'm going to put in this one for August. I'm not growing any watermelon this year, and my summer squash is starting to decline. I got a really good harvest out of my zucchini and my summer squash plants, and the pests and the mildew, I've just been fighting it, and I've gotten probably 15 pounds of squash out of a few plants, so I'm going to try to take care of them some more, but if they're in decline, I might just let them go for the year. Had good success so far. Anyway, point is, I'll stick this in here and put it back up on my shelf. to have one for August. I'll also have to change out my wreath on the front porch. I posted last time that I made more of like a patriotic style wreath. I think it's probably time to change that out. All right, so anyway, when I was camping with these things, I finished one, and I can't remember if this is dated for May or for June, but this is the one that I finished. Now here's one that I thought about changing up the colors on the flowers to make it a little brighter, fresher, more modern, I guess. But I think that it's fine with the dark green, and I'm happy with it. And I'm glad that the white shows up on the gray. I think it'll show up even better once it's all squared and laced and stuck in there. You can see on the watermelon that I'm just really sloppily lacing the backs of these around a piece of mat board that I purchased a big piece from, I think it was Michael's. And I'm just cutting them into little pieces. So this one is ready to get laced up, but I think I'm gonna wait to lace it up because I also made a lot of progress on this one. So this is still not done, but it's pretty close. I mostly just have a little bit of border over here and the back side of the reindeer. And then there's a little teddy bear sticking out of this Santa's gift bag. But in the picture, I don't really love how it looks. I wasn't even sure what it was, so I might play with that a little and try to make it more bear-like. We'll see. One comment about this, I really like these Prairie Schoolers because they're so simple and straightforward, and if you mess up something like the border, you can cover it up pretty easily. But I was stitching this in the car on the way to the campsite, and so I took one look at the border and thought, okay, this is a pattern that I can do through here, and it'll be fine. I got down to the bottom, and then I put it away. And then when I got back from the camping trip, I started working on this side and realized that I had made a slight error over here. Actually, a slight error here and a big error here. Right in the middle of this, so it looks like it has a pattern of 5 stitches in one, 5 stitches in one. Right in the middle here, there is a disruption to that pattern, and for some reason there are 6 stitches, and then it goes back to the normal pattern. And I just assumed that the pattern would continue, and that's never a safe assumption. But because it's a Prairie Schooler and it's pretty simple, I just went along with it. And it actually worked out okay because on this side I had gone too far, and so the border was all the way down here, and it's supposed to match up with the reindeer's legs. So I had like one moment where I was like, I could just make his legs longer. That would be a very tall reindeer if I did that. So anyway, point is, I took out this side of the border that I had messed up, and I just added that extra stitch I had missed up here, right here. So can't even tell. I only share it with you guys because for a moment I was like, am I gonna have to unpick this entire border? And then I had to just take a step back and say, you know, it's just one stitch, it's just the border. I can either leave it off and just have the border hug the hooves a bit, or I can fix it somewhere else. And so that's what I did. Almost all of my projects have mistakes like that, and I forget about them, and I don't tell you guys about them all the time, but I wanted to this time just to explain that for me, when I do make mistakes, it's kind of a learning process for me to find a way to fix it and have it turn out just fine. No one knows there's a mistake here, but it's a reminder to myself that I do make mistakes, and there is typically a way forward without, you know, ruining the whole thing. So anyway, I'm going to continue working on this, and when this is finished, I'll sit down and lace both of these up. And this needle minder is just another button. It's a plastic button I got at a craft store and just glued a magnet to it. So anyway, that's my progress on a Prairie year. I'm going to keep using these as like little travel things, just because I don't need a hoop, as I said. And I'm getting to a point where they've all been started, and some are further along than others. So I might just pick the one that's closest to a finish and finish it and work through them that way. Okay, I've got one other project that I worked on. I continue to work on the hair. Not a whole lot, but some. So here's a preview. Glare. There it is. Yeah, so hopefully I showed you where it is last time. It's still in the hoop. Let me pull it out because I think I did some of the flowers up top too. This one I have just a wooden hoop. This one feels like it probably came from Joann's. They have a nice smooth hoop, but it also makes it kind of slippery and I have to tighten it a lot, but it works for me. Okay, so here's my progress. So I worked a bit more on the rabbit, I believe, and then also I have blue on my hanging here. So I think that I filled in the rest of these flowers and now I've finished all the way through here-ish. And so I'm working on filling in this blue and then more of the greenery and then I'll move across. So I'm happy with this one. This one is on, well, let's check, make sure I tell you the right one. Okay, so this is called the hair. It's a Marishka kit, which I don't think the word is on here. Anyways, 32 count Belfast linen in the color flax, which I really like this color. It's like it's almost like a natural linen, but it's got more of a gray or a tan than a brown. So. And that is it. That's all that I worked on. Looking at it now, I did do a lot of stitches. It just feels like I bounced around from thing to thing, and I was better stitching this month, or had more time to stitch this month, but it still wasn't a concerted effort. I think that sometime soon I'm gonna just take like a weekend and have myself a stitchy weekend where I get stuff done, but I also put aside like 30 minutes, 45 minutes here or there where I stitch, and it can be a really nice way to spend some time off instead of just constantly running around and traveling and that sort of thing. Okay, so you guys are probably anxious for the giveaway winner. Thank you all for entering and submitting your comments. I asked you to tell me what you grow in your garden or what you would grow if you could, or if you're not a gardener, what you'd like to have on hand to cook with. And you guys all came up with some great comments. A couple of things. One, I had to look up courgette. I think that's how you say it. And I'm pretty sure that that's zucchini and maybe yellow zucchini squash. So that's a fun one. Another one, nobody mentioned this, but I know some people call eggplants aubergines, I think, and they're interchangeable words, but it's interesting just to see what the same plant is called in different places. Somebody else commented that they grow beetroot. And I think that that's just beets, right? Like here in the US, we just call them beets. It is a root, but it's not like we call them carrot roots or turnip roots. Like they're just root vegetables, and they're turnips and carrots and beets. So I thought that was fun. And I like getting some international comments from you guys because of things like that. It makes it really interesting. So I have my laptop over here. Let me grab that. Okay, so there were, oh, am I even in the camera? There were 23 entries, and I did the random number generator, and it selected number 20, which is Pennington Terrace. So congratulations. I'll connect with you on Instagram, or if you don't have Instagram or can't find me on Instagram, which is Anna US Cross Stitch, or Anna U's Cross Stitch, however you want to look at it. We'll figure out a way to connect so I can get your address. Now, you wrote that Pennington Terrace wrote that they grow mangoes, avocados, chilies, peaches, and oranges. So you are living far, far away from me, and I don't know if you're in California or maybe Florida, or if you're in some exotic place, but I will try to get the giveaway items to you. I left those in the closet. Let me grab them really quickly. Okay, so Pennington Terrace, congratulations, you won the fabric, the 14 count Aida in this like gold mottled color, and this stack of Halloween-ish charts. So congratulations, I'll connect with you to get your address and I'll get this in the mail to you. As far as plans go, August, I'm going to be pulling out Fright Night as my full coverage. And then other than that, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. We are planning a trip to Ireland in the first part of September, which is exciting, but it's also hard to feel fully committed. We were supposed to go on a family trip with my husband's family to Scotland last year in 2020. And as the year progressed, it became clear that we were not going to be able to go on that trip. And so instead of canceling, we just kind of let it fall apart. And so what happened is a lot of those things were booked for a year later. Well, this year, leading up to getting ready to go to Scotland, we had some travel hiccups with the UK and with the US and the venue. It was again starting to unravel. And so we pivoted our plans to go to Ireland instead. And as of now, that is full steam ahead. So I need to come up with a couple of activities to fit into our already existing itinerary. And it's finally time where I feel confident enough that it's going to happen that I can turn my focus to doing that. So if anyone out there has been to Ireland and has suggestions for where to go, maybe a cross-stitch shop or a castle or something, a museum, something that maybe won't show up in my guidebook on the front, something interesting that you found there, I'd be interested to hear any advice you have about going to Ireland. My husband and I will be alone in Dublin for a couple of days, and then we're meeting his family. Oh gosh, I can't remember what region we're going to be in, but it's basically from Dublin directly west to the other side of to the other coast. So whatever region that is, that's where we'll be. Should have looked that up before asking for advice. But if anyone's been to Ireland or know people there, and you have a suggestion for Dublin or directly west of there on the other side of the island, that would be useful. And I will be looking at which cross-stitch projects I want to take with me. We'll have a long flight, we'll have a lot of downtime, and if COVID continues, we might be spending more time at where we're staying than we were maybe expecting. So I will definitely take cross-stitch with me. I'll try to purchase something there as like a souvenir if I can find a place. So yeah, that's what's on the agenda now, and that's where a lot of my time and attention is going to be going. So I'm excited for that trip, but we'll see. We'll see whether it happens. Things are still evolving. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I hope to be back here before my trip and talk to you about what I'm planning to take with me and all of that. So in the meantime, happy stitching. Hope you guys have a great August. Bye.